Welcome back to another video. The sun is shining, the air feels great. Oh, it's too bright, okay. Everything looks nice, I'm having a good day. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be looking at the album Identity by Colton Dixon. Identity is the third and latest album by the Christian rocker slash singer Colton Dixon. This album is his least popular album yet, with basically no hit songs. It has no memorable hit songs, no song that anyone would recognize who listens to Christian radio. Apparently like one or even two of the songs got like a tiny bit of radio play on Christian radio, but they clearly didn't land. It's like when, you know, the radio executives, there's a song, or like the people who make the song, and they're like, we're putting this on the radio, this is guaranteed going to be on the radio, and it gets on the radio and then nobody cares, and the radio eventually just drops it. Or drops it immediately, and that's the case with this. None of these songs took off. This album has none of his memorable, distinctive songs like You Are, or Never Gone, or, I don't know. What's his most popular song? I forgot what it's called. I don't listen to Colton Dixon that often. But yeah. This album is also his shortest album. This album, the non-deluxe version of this album, is only 11 songs long. A Messenger was 11 songs, but this song doesn't have any interludes or intros. It's literally just 11 songs, and this is the first album by Colton Dixon to not have interludes and intros and all that good stuff. Musically, Identity is a significant shift for Colton Dixon. In the past, Colton Dixon has dabbled in electronic influence, specifically on the song Echo, and even more so on the song Fool's Gold. And even as far back as his debut album, A Messenger did have very slight electronic influence on songs like Never Gone, and one of the other songs, I don't remember which one it was. But a tiny bit of electronic influence can be heard on them. This album is a full-fledged, upbeat, electronic pop album, with electronic music on literally every single song. In fact, the only song on this album that is not like a full-fledged, totally electronic song with totally electronic music would be the last song, which is, I would call it an almost acoustic song. I say that all the time, almost acoustic. But it's like, it sounds like it's going to be acoustic, but then they throw in some music later in the song that makes it like, that was made by a computer. But most of it is pretty stripped back and pretty, it sounds like an acoustic song for most of the song. The rest of the music on this album is a lot of things. The music is very upbeat. It's very much multifaceted. They don't just use a computer on this album. They also use clapping and stomping and different sound effects that you can make with your, like a human can make. They also have some very sparkly piano on this thing. They throw in some guitars. They throw in some walls of sound, some atmospheric effects. You have a ton of different music going on here, but what all these songs have in common is a lot of electronically produced music, music made by a computer. But you also have a whole lot of other things that kind of in the background and on the side that's different than electronic music. The lyrics on this thing are about the same. I'm going to say the same thing I've literally said in all the Colton Dixon reviews. They're radio-friendly, safe, Christian, contemporary music lyrics. All the lyrics on this thing. It's like, you're not going to find anything striking or original or very creative in the lyrics. It's all very generic Christian messages, very generic Christian lyrics on like literally all the songs. A great example of this, I mean, you could literally just like go through the song, like you can just kind of look at the song titles and tell, oh, these kind of look like Christian song titles, like the titles of Christian songs. One great example of this would be No Greater Love, which is about how God's love is the greatest love and the most and the best kind of love, and it's better than all the other loves. And that literally has been done so many times, so many hundreds of thousands of times by literally every single person in the Christian contemporary music industry. Like, your love never fails. Your love. That's probably, I mean, literally these are names of Christian songs. No greater love. Literally the lyrics are, you have the best kind of love. This is the best, is better than all other loves. There's no greater love. It's extremely, extremely overdone and generic. The vocals on this thing, for the first time, Colton Dixon uses some very heavy auto-tune. The entire album, I wouldn't say there is a ton ton of auto-tune. You would think there would be, because it's like entirely electronic. But the biggest use of auto-tune would be on the song Breathe, which in the first few minutes of that song, it's like entirely super heavy auto-tune. And this is, of course, used as an effect. It's not used like unironically. It's used to create a feeling, and it's used to move the song along. But got some auto-tune on this album. To be totally honest, I actually like this album a lot more than I thought I would. You know, a lot of artists have done this switch to electronic music where they try to, you know, normally in an attempt to be relevant and an attempt to still get played on the radio. And that's what this album did. And I like it. Musically, this album really is not super original. I cannot say this is an extremely groundbreaking album in terms of the music, in terms of the music being creative and original and really cool. I mean, and being really, you know, never done before, it's groundbreaking. Not at all. Not even close to any of those things. The music is very much safe. Music very much falls in line with what's popular in 2017, in what's popular in 2018, you know, when this album was made. But honestly, the music is very enjoyable. It is well produced. The music is very, very smooth. It's well produced, and it's just really enjoyable on nearly every song on this album. The only song that really flops with the music is No Greater Love, which is this super generic music, EDM music at the chorus that just, like, so annoying. I never want to hear that song again. Like, it's so just, it's painfully generic. But songs like Brand New Life, that is a super fun, enjoyable song. Technicolor, even more so. This song is, you can dance to this song. It is just super upbeat, super high energy, and really cool music at the chorus that plays after he sings the chorus. Really, honestly, cool music on this thing. The song Down has some really interesting music that really works. It has these pulsating, epic synths, and then some pounding drums, and then other effects. Like I said, on this album, Colton Dixon throws in other sound effects, and that makes these songs way more interesting. He'll do like clapping, or like vocal effects, or like drums. Like whenever he throws in some piano, it normally sounds really good with the electronic music. You also have songs like Human and Breathe. These songs have an epic feel, and the epicness really pays off. I actually really like the auto-tune on Breathe. It really serves the song very well. And then Human just sounds really good. And a lot of these songs on this album do not sound incredibly creative or original, but they do sound good. Lyrically, this album isn't great. Super generic lyrics. There's one song on this album that has pretty good lyrics, and that's The Other Side, the last song on this album. It's by a long shot the most serious song on the album. It tries to be profound, and it hits the mark. It pretty much hits the mark. Musically, I would say it's not as fun as the other songs on this album. It's actually not as enjoyable. But it's not trying to be. It doesn't try to be. And lyrically, it's good. Good lyrics on that song. Before I give this album a score, I just want to say the vocals on this album. Honestly, I thought this would like ruin the vocals if he did like an electronic album. Like I said, he should do an acoustic album, and then he does the opposite of an acoustic album, a totally electronic album, and it actually works. His voice actually works really well with these modern pop sounds. Colton Dixon thrives as like an acoustic singer, but as a pop singer, he absolutely nails it. He nails the singing on this album. Honestly, his voice sounds really good with these electronic elements. Yeah. Identity is not an original album. It's not a very creative album. It's not even a very well-written album. But this is a highly enjoyable album. The music on this album rarely misses a beat. It isn't super creative, but it's super enjoyable, super fun, and it actually sounds really cool. The music is multi-layered. They have lots of different elements besides just, you know, instead of just simply doing electronic music, they throw in other stuff. They throw in piano, drums, clapping, other sound effects, and honestly, I got a kick out of this album. I enjoyed it. I could not call this a great album as it's not super well written and it's not super creative, but this is a very solidly enjoyable album, and I actually enjoy this album more than any other Colton Dixon album. I would say this is Colton Dixon's best album. I'm going to give this thing a 3.75 out of 5. I just realized this. A Messenger I gave a 3.25. which is not very good. Anchor, I gave a 3.75, meaning it's good, not really that good. Identity, his third album, I gave a 3.75, which is almost great, but not really, but not quite. Not good enough to be, not really a great album, but you know, almost there. It is an album that I enjoy a good bit. So if he keeps this up, his next album, which I guess will be released in like 2020 if he keeps up, if he keeps making albums, maybe even 2019. If he makes another album, it should get, if he progresses just as much, it should get a 4 out of 5, because it goes up by 0.25 each time. That would be cool. I'd love to see a great album by Colton Dixon. But you know what? I could be wrong, and he could have hit his peak right here. He might just keep doing this. In that case, I mean, his songwriting hasn't really gotten any better. He probably doesn't even write his songs, but it hasn't really gotten any better. So I think he's going to have to step up that if he wants to make a great album. But still, this is definitely a step in the right direction, and I did really like this album. Thanks for watching. You're the best, you're the best, you're the best. Copyright, copyright, copyright. Have a good one.